Breathe slowly and deeply. In through your nose and out through your mouth. Relax. Sit back in your chair. Breathe. Close your eyes. Breathe in, breathe out. Listen to the sound of the room. The shuffle of the audience in their chairs. The subtle pop of the man in the second row trying to disguise that he's just farted. Be calm, collected. You are in control. You are the gossamer waterfall flowing through a desert oasis, tinkling as beautifully as water onto a urinal cake. Breathe. You are the beautiful tree growing mightily in the forest. Your arms are the branches, your hair the leaves, all your blemishes and the bits that you're uncomfortable about. They're the little knobbly bits on the spine. Some dickhead has carved Kevin and Laura into your torso. Be calm. Be relaxed. Now, open your eyes and welcome to the stage your host, Jacob Hatton.
Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. Thank you so much for coming to the recording of my show, Relax. My name is Jacob Hatton. No jawline, just vibes. Once you see that about me, by the way, you will not be able to unsee it. So I have to just throw it out there early doors. So. I'm a huge music fan. Sometimes, those songs that remind you of a specific time of your life. Maybe you haven't heard it for a while, but then it comes on the radio, you get that immediate sense of memory, nostalgia. You got songs like that? Yeah, me too, man. For me, that song, hands down, Happy Birthday. One audience member with an evil laugh, something to watch out for throughout the show. Is he enjoying it or is he scheming? My real favourite kind of music is 90s and noughties UK garage. My favourite UK garage song, right, which most of you should know, is the song 21 Seconds by the artist So Solid Crew. Now, do you guys know it? Yeah. So, by the way, if you don't, I'll quickly explain it. What happens? There's some Gen Z in here. There's been a garage revival, but they may not know. What happens in 21 Seconds by the artist So Solid Crew, right, is basically every member of So Solid Crew, they all step on the mic, right, and they all have 21 seconds to chat all of their best rhymes. And that's amazing. It's a real show of art and talent. But actually, with a deeper listen, a closer listen, it's actually a deeply tragic song. Because what actually happens is every member of So Solid Crew, they all get on the mic, and then they realise that they've only got 21 seconds to go, and all they can think about is they've got 21 seconds to go, and all they can say is that they've got 21 seconds to go, and then their time's done. And like Lisa Mafia, she comes on, she's like, I got 21 seconds, so pass the mic, I got 21 seconds to say what I gotta say. Then I swear I'll go away. I got 21 seconds. And then her time's done. No one knows what Lisa Mafia had to say. And perhaps we never will, right? And as an artist, I never want that to happen to me. I never want that to happen to me. I've got to talk about the things I've got to talk about. This is my show. It's called Relax. I wrote a lot of it during the coronavirus pandemic and a little bit afterwards. But while some of the topics are kind of thematic about that time, I do feel like now with the war, the cost of living, it's all still relevant today. I really, really struggled with relaxing, and the show is about how I learned to. You all on board? Yeah. Fucking right. Yeah, okay. Some whoops, one guy very businesslike. Yep. Glad to have you on board. I'm living well, man. Like, I live with my wife in a little place called Catford. If you don't know it, what most people say about Catford is it's got a big statue of a cat in it. And I like that. I think every area of London should be like that. Like, you should have, it's Catford, it's called Catford, it's got a statue of a cat. That's perfect for me. Like, you could have, for example, you should have Brixton, you should have a huge statue of like an unmade wall. Brixton, perfect. You can have Balham, you can have a huge statue of a pig with incredibly smelly balls. No, the sort of visual representation of the smell of the only 2-bed you'll ever be able to afford to rent there. You'll have Clapham, a big statue of a pig scratching those genitals, a kind of visual representation of the sort of STIs you get if you ever go to Infernos there. You can have Cockfosters, well, I should think that should be obvious. It's great, man. I like living there. It's a bit of an area that estate agents call up and coming, and everyone else calls flea and crime ridden. But we have a good life. We have a nice flat. We've got a little cat. We've had a couple of problems. Like there's some drug dealers who hang out outside our flat, right? And I don't mind about that. But they did used to make a lot of noise at night. And sometimes my wife and I would tell them to be quiet. And then one day, someone called the police on them, and they thought it was us, right? And so they said to my wife, "Oi, if you ever call the police on us, we'll wet you up." I didn't know what that meant. I had to look it up. It'd been a hot summer, do you know what I mean? I was like, water pistols, amazing. Anyway, it turned out it means stabbing. And so we had to do something that's going to happen in every man's life at some point, right? And we had to go down, and I had to be like, can you not murder my wife? Can you not stand? Can you not? Because I think it's rude. I just don't think it's polite. I don't think it's polite to murder a man's wife. I'm going to put it out there. You know, comedy, you have to you got to touch the controversial topics. I just think it's impolite to murder a man's wife, right? And so we had to go down there, right? And you know the vibes with these gangs, right? There's the kind of the children that like sell all the drugs, right? And then there's the kind of proper wrong'uns who like hang out in the bimmer, like round the corner. And we had to speak to them. And firstly, we got on really well. Amazing. You know, the guy's name's Killer with an A, spell it right. And we got on great, you know, we got on really, really well. We're having a good time. And at the end, you know, he turns to me and he was like, "Oh, cool, yeah, we're cool. And you know what, yeah? Killer, he runs this whole block. So if there's anything I can ever do for you, yeah, you let me know." And me, just like middle class, like out of politeness, I was like, "Yeah, and if there's anything I can ever do for you, you let me know." And he was just like what? And I was like, "I don't know. Admin." So anyway, I'm in the drugs trade now. And like, no, like not at the front end, not the dealing, but their back end. Their distribution is unbelievable. The spreadsheets, so good. The UX. I'm living well. You know, I'm living well. I've just we've been able to get out since the pandemic. I've just been on my first holiday in 3 years. Okay. In the edit of this film, I'm going to be turning that volume up there. I've just been on my first holiday in 3 years. Yeah! All right, don't patronise me. We went to Venice. I'm going to have to do all your actions for you, aren't I, for this? We went to Venice. Ha, ha, ha! We went to Venice. I saw some of the most wonderful Renaissance architecture ever created. I saw some of the most beautiful art ever painted. Caravaggio, culture. And I did my favourite cultural thing, which is go to the McDonald's in Venice and find all the items on their €1 saver menu that are slightly different to the items on our £1 saver menu. Muck lasagna. Just as Nonna makes it. And what wine pairing would Sir like with his McNuggets? If you want to know, by the way, it's neat vodka. But I liked it, man. It was good. Like, I want to be clear as well. Like, when I go abroad, like, I go on holiday. Lots of people my age, and let's be honest, like, socioeconomic demographic, when they go abroad, right, they go traveling. Like, loads of my friends at 18, 19, when we left school, they went away traveling. And I'm always deeply suspicious of people who go travelling, right? And I think it's because, right, when I was 18, like, I couldn't afford to go travelling, right? And they all went away travelling. And they came back from travelling, and they had these amazing stories. They'd be like, Jacob, we've been to Malawi. And you know what? You'll never understand true poverty until you've been to Malawi. Obviously, I couldn't afford to go to Malawi. I guess that's the kind of understanding only money can buy. Like how the evil laughs return. Don't be self-conscious about it, though. I really need it. I need them all the laughs I can get for the cams. Just do it for the cams. That's my favourite thing. Like I said, I've been on holiday. I've just gone back to the office. I've been working from... Okay. What a reaction. I'm just back to the corporate life. Woo woo! I've just been back to the office. I've been working from home for the last 3 years. I've just like, and do any of you guys like working from home? Okay, I hate it. I'm broadly indifferent to working from home. Yeah, okay. Good thing, you're well trained. I hate working from home. I hate working from home. Like, to me, like, work is work, right, and home is home. They're different places. They should never meet. Like, I do not want to be photocopying the quarterly financial report in the same place I'm having dinner. And by that same token, I do not want to be lounging around the office in my pajamas, stained with cum. Sure, it's great that I got to spend loads of time with my wife and family. Obviously, I do... No, it's great. It is great that I get to spend loads of time with my wife and family. Obviously, I had to keep a little picture of my office on my desk at all times, just so I always know who I'm doing it for. But you can't relax working from home. You can't. You know, just like when I'm at work, I'm a company man. I can't deal with working from home. I can't deal with doing work at home. I think there's too many distractions at home. I think that's what it is. Too many distractions, like my fridge, my Nintendo, my wife. Oh, come on, your goddamn wives, guys. Your goddamn wives just begging you to have sex with them. And I was like, put away the lingerie. Finish yourself off. I'm talking to Sandra. The quarterly financial report is in. You know, you want to sleep with me, you better send me a Slack. Put some time in. I've got a 9:15 and I've got a 1:18. You only get 5 minutes with me, wife, because at business time, I'm all business. Can deal with working from home. It's different. Like, I had responsibilities in the office. I was a big man in the office. You know, the office was a jungle and I was a tiger. By that, I mean I was the recycling manager of the office. I was reduced to sending warning emails to my cat for eating tuna in the canteen. Tuna which I'd fed her. It was a responsibility feedback loop. Couldn't deal with working from home. Like, even the toilets in the office, they're communal. I get some of my best networking done in the toilets. But all that means is that if my wife's on the toilet when I go in, I've got to go in the sink. You know, the mirror's steaming up with the hot steam of my hot business piss. She's looking at me, I'm looking at her, I'm like, how about that merger? She goes, what are you talking about? Get out of here. I'm like, I don't have time for this. I'll see you in the networking zone. She says, do you mean our kitchen? I'm like, yeah, do you know what? Networking zone, kitchen, either way I'm crying. Like, I can't work from home. Can't work from home, you know? I need the office. I need the competitiveness of the office. Like, I've always got, I'm a competitive guy, in any situation, man. I've always got to try and be the winner. I've always got to be the alpha dog in that situation, right? Like, even with my boss, like your boss, they call you into a meeting, right? And you your boss calls you into a meeting, and it's an important meeting because you've got the important meeting food out. You know what that food is, right? It's the big plate of M&S sandwiches, the bowl of crisps, the vat of orange juice. You know you're not supposed to eat that food, but it's a power move. You've got to. You know what you do, right? You've got to show you're the alpha in that situation. You take those sandwiches, you open up the sandwiches. You place the crisps inside the sandwiches. Then you place the bread of the sandwich on top and you crunch it down. And then you dip it in the orange juice. And you swill it down like a pelican eating a kipper. Stare at your boss in the eyes the whole time you're doing it. Your boss is like, fucking hell. Assertive and creative. What's he gonna do next? Steal my job or fuck my wife? Both. Try doing that over Zoom. You can't. I tried. You know what I did? Like, you can find anything on the internet these days, right? What I did is I found out where my boss lived, Google image searched his house, made the background of my Zoom his house. He signed in, I immediately changed my background back. He said, hang on, what the hell was that? I said, nothing. Just manifesting. By the way, how's Deborah? I couldn't deal with it. The worlds collided. I think it was the internet. The internet, I was just on the internet all day working from home. And the internet is different working from home. Like, the internet at home is different from the internet in the office. And I know it's all the same websites. I get it. But you know that the office internet is different from the home internet. You know it because, right, riddle me this. Why do freelancers work in cafes? Because you cannot masturbate in a cafe. The internet at home is different from the internet at work. You cannot masturbate in your place of work, right, unless your job is MP and your workplace is the House of Commons. And even then, you have to disguise it as tractor ownership. Like, they're fundamentally different places, And I hated it. I'd just sit on the internet all day. I'd be stewing on the internet all day. I get obsessed with clickbait shit I saw on the internet. I saw this amazing article the other day, right, when I was working from home, and it went like this. It went, shock! The triplets that Phoebe from Friends gave birth to 23 years ago are unrecognizable today. I argued it would be a lot more shocking, right, if the triplets that Phoebe from Friends gave birth to 23 years ago are not only completely recognizable, but exactly the same. Just 3 enormous babies rolling through New York, shrieking for Lisa Kudrow. They had that Friends reunion about 6 months ago. They're like, hey, Lisa, what's with all these babies that keep following you around? She says, you know what? No one ever told me that life was going to be this way. Don't groan for the fucking film! Are you fucking serious? I'm going to cut everyone's laughs and put a groan track in. It's so good. It's going to be lit. I get obsessed with stuff I see on the internet all day. And I'd just be sitting there stewing. The internet is just a portal to infinite distraction. There's always another notification, always another story, always another anything. And I couldn't deal with it. And people, there's only so much crying you can do in the networking zone, right? Before your wife says you need help. And I tried. I tried meditation. We meditated a bit at the start of the show. But how can anyone meditate? How can anyone meditate in this world with that much distraction going on? Like, I've tried meditating. In fact, like, have any of you, let's try meditating right now. Let's see what happens with meditation when I try meditation. With all the distraction, all the phones, everything going on in the world. Let's try meditate. In fact, let's all meditate right together right now. So everyone close your eyes. Come on, this is going to be super fun. We're going to meditate, and I'm going to be very agitated if you don't. We're all going to meditate together, and it's going to be fun, and we're going to have so much peace. You ready? Okay.
So good to get a little quiet around here. Yeah. Just you and me. Your subconscious.
That's right, baby. Just the two of us.
Hey, you know what you should do?
What?
Pick up your phone.
No, I'm meditating.
Oh, go on, pick
me
it up.
time. It's me time.
Go on, pick it up.
No, it's me time.
It's right there, pick it up.
Nope.
You might have a notification.
Don't care. Well, I do, but you know.
Come on, look, have you seen that hurricane in Ethiopia?
Why would I want to look at that? That's ridiculous. I just want to.
Fine. Well, how about this? Have you seen Anthony's new baby pics? Oh, come on, he's so cute.
I don't care. Who gives a shit? It's just a friend's baby.
Okay,
Who cares,
okay.
man? It's not like I'm trying to meditate.
Right,
I'm trying to.
shock. The triplets that Phoebe from Friends gave birth to.
We've been through this. Just
No, fine.
meditating, man. We're just.
No, you're the boss.
I am the
You are
boss.
I'll be
Well,
quiet.
yeah, just
I'll be quiet.
shut up.
Leave you alone.
Yeah,
Just being quiet. Leaving you alone.
shut up.
Jacob,
What?
you know how you don't listen to the rock band Lost Prophets anymore?
True.
Yeah, that's right, because their lead singer, Ian Watkins, is a convicted paedophile.
Where are you going with this?
Well, you do listen to Michael Jackson.
Right, firstly, nothing was proved. So
I'm just saying
Well,
that these are two artists
yeah,
who are performing art, and you've assigned a scale as to whether you'll still forgive them for a crime, even a crime as heinous as paedophilia. Depending
I
on
follow
their
you.
status and skill as an artist.
I do follow this, but sorry, where are we going with this? It seems like you're trying to say
I'm
something.
not saying
It fucking seems like you are trying to.
But comedy is a form of art.
Okay.
No. I don't mean that. What I am saying though is technically, by that logic, by your own logic,
Okay.
you could write a joke that's so funny, it would excuse you of a crime, even a crime as heinous as paedophilia.
Sorry, I don't think that. I just want to say I don't think that's likely to happen.
No. This is your thoughts. These are your thoughts. I'm your subconscious.
Well,
I'm not saying anything.
It seems like you're trying to say something about
You
this.
should aim high.
No, back.
I don't think you're there yet.
I've got my audience here. I've written some fucking good jokes, you know.
You know, some crimes, I'm sure, maybe a mugging, a couple of stabbings, no, man, but you're not there yet.
Hey!
You're not there yet.
Can I just be clear to these guys? I'm not a nonce. Like, I want to be very.
Hey, have you seen Anthony's baby?
No. Back. No, I'm not a nonce. I'm not a nonce. I'm not a nonce, right? I'm not a nonce. I'm not a nonce, right? I'm not a nonce. I'm not a nonce, man. I'm not a nonce. Please, I'm not a nonce. Right. Basically, I meditated and I had a breakdown. Tried to meditate and I had a breakdown. And I know, right? I know. My favourite bit about that routine, by the way, is so when I was preparing for the Edinburgh Fringe, you do a lot of smaller fringes to get ready for it. And I did a show in the Brighton Fringe. I did it in a wonderful, above pub theatre. And the best thing about that was that the sound system for that room was just for the whole upstairs. And what I didn't realise is there was a big mainstream pub down there. There was my room, and then there were the toilets for the entire pub. And I came back after doing the show to circa 27 separate complaints that they'd gone for a piss and a disembodied voice had called them a nonce. context-free. I tried to meditate, I had a breakdown. I couldn't deal with it. And I know, these days, we've got to talk about our mental health, especially the fellas, right? You've got to talk about your mental health. That's what they say to the fellas. You've got to talk about your mental health, man. It's okay to not be okay. And I think that's cool. Obviously, you wouldn't do that you wouldn't approach it that way with any other kind of health. If I came out on stage and about 20 minutes into the show and I was like, this show is really about my broken leg. You wouldn't go, and that is valid. If I said, no, genuinely, my leg is in so much pain, it's in pain, I need medical attention, please help me, audience. You wouldn't go, okay, 3 stars. And we will give you medical attention in 2 hours, but first what we'll do is we're going to record a TikTok video where we dance to the tune Walk This Way, whilst explaining that the term walk is problematic for the non-perambulatory community. And if I cried out, please, the pain, I need it, I need help, you wouldn't go, it's okay to not be okay. Talk about it. But I did do therapy. I did two things about therapy. Firstly, I had to do it over Zoom because it was lockdown. And in a single 45-minute Zoom cognitive behavioral therapy taster session, I secured from my therapist precisely 7 laughs. I don't know what you think that says about me, but I think it says I'll play any gig. I like that you're here, but I don't need you. I love therapy, man. I loved all the questions they were asking me in CBT. All those questions like, Jacob, can you please stop changing your video background to my house? Good. I don't like it, man. I don't just therapy to therapy, I do it to win. Which, by the way, they diagnosed. But I think the problem is I don't think I'm the sort of person who gets therapy. I think that's my problem. I didn't think I deserved to get therapy. I've always had imposter syndrome in life about everything. By the way, if you don't know what imposter syndrome is, it's just a feeling that you get. Whatever you're doing, even if you're doing it unbelievably well, like me today. It's that sense that that's not the real you. Because the real you just sucks. Just is horrible shit, like a little worm. If you don't know what that feels like, I'll explain it like this. Do you guys remember in year 9, right, how every now and again a PE teacher would come and give a substitute geography lesson in full tracksuit? Yeah, he'd give it his best shot, but you can see the fear in his eyes. All the swatty kids on the front row with their inhalers, just like, ah, sir, now the hunter has become the hunted. But even about therapy, I didn't feel I deserved therapy, man. I don't think I'm from the sort of family that gets therapy. I think to people like my mum, right, who is here. The idea that I'd got therapy was the sort of idea that I'd made it. My grand's ringing her up going, oh, how's Jacob doing comedy in that London? And mum's just amazing. His health problems, they're just mental. It's the commodification of it too. There's always commodification all the time. During lockdown, my work genuinely replaced our Christmas party with a Zoom mental health seminar. Yeah. That is an organisation that couldn't care less about your mental health. They asked me what colour my mood is. I said black. And they said, we don't say that in this office. Please, can you recalibrate? And I said, I've recalibrated to, I want to die. But I knew that it was going badly. I hate the commodification of mental health. And you see it. I've noticed it mostly with Instagram. Every now and again, what I'll do is I'll open up Instagram, and because I'm a man of a certain age and mental stability, I'm immediately plowed with ads for horny Instagram bikini models, right? But with middle-aged problems in their bio. So what it will be, right, is there'll be some model posing saucily for you, and then below it they'll be Chloe believes that anxiety affects more than 4 in 10 men. And you know what, if that's something that affects you too, here is a number or a website that you can visit. And I'll be looking at that, and I'll be like, wow, that's crazy. I agree. Anxiety does affect 4 in 10 men. And I'll be certainly visiting the website in the immediate guilt I feel after I've come. I hate it, man. Like, I hate the commodification of mental health, and I hate it. Like, and you get, but I needed it. I needed help. I couldn't relax. I needed help, and so I did what everyone did. Everyone of our generation. I turned to the internet because there's coaches for everything on the internet these days. There's dating coaches, and I am married, but I looked one up just out of curiosity. I'm not dating, I'm just looking for a coach. Never stop dating your wife. That's the important thing, right? That's marriage tips, which I do not follow. No, I looked up the number one dating coach in the world's website, right? And the first article, it went like this. It said, in 2022, I dated 1,000 guys. And what I learned was, you just gotta love yourself. How are you a dating coach? I have been on one online date in my life. I got married to her nearly 3 years ago. And what I learned you have to do is repress every problematic aspect of your personality down to the meanest singularity, like a neutron star. And then release it slowly, over time, like a gas leak. But so slowly that by the time she senses anything's up, she can't cause any friction for fear that she'll cause a spark that starts a fire that burns down everything we've built together. That's love. Dating coach. You get coaches for everything. You get career coaches. You get life coaches. Life coach. Don't die. Done. Life coaching over. The mad thing about those life coaches, you see them all the time on the internet, right? And they always introduce themselves with a little video. And the video always goes something a little bit like this. They're always like, I was poor. Nothing. The merest crab. The smallest amoeba. Like a worm. I tried to teach the boys geography. But all they wanted was PE. I was dirt. And afterwards, after work, I would go to my house. And it was not a house box, it was a house box, a house. It was nothing but the merest shoebox. And I would live there all my life. And sometimes at night, the storm would come and it would wash that shoebox down the drain. And the shoebox would float out to sea. And there in the sea, I would be stung by thousands of jellyfish. And in the morning, I would be washed into land. And people would piss on me, not because of the jellyfish thing, but because they fundamentally do not respect me as a being. I was nothing, a worm, an amoeba, a rat, awful. And then I became a life coach. How are you a life coach? If you're going to be my life coach, you need to have been smashing it since day one, right? Your story needs to be day one, came out of the womb, immediate rapturous applause. Day two, we NFT that applause, immediate millionaire. Day three, I can already get erections, and that's good because people have been sucking my dick since day one on a conveyor belt. You do that for 30 straight years, you can conceivably be my life coach. How dare you advertise yourself as my life coach? The only honest life coaching I could give any of you guys, right, is it would be just this. I'd go up to you all, I'd look at you in the eyes, I'd shake you warmly by the hand, I'd be life, man, you're living it. It's happening to you right now. Life, you're living it. It's happening to you right now. Life, right, you're living it. It's happening to you right now. Now, give me £150 an hour. That is the best possible life coaching I could ever give any of you. I thought I'd know more about life by now. I thought I'd know more. Like, I've just become middle-aged. I'm 33, but climate change. I thought I'd know more. You know, my friends, they're starting to grow up. They're getting into long-term relationships. They're getting married. They're having kids. And you know that's starting to happen, right? Because you start getting the nice birthday cards, you know, from like both of them. And it's clearly written by her. And it's, Dear Jacob, happy birthday. I hope that 2023 is just as successful as 2022. Love from John and Margaret. Please find attached this half-price Odd Bins voucher for some half-price wine. And I'm like, okay. John, 3 years ago, your card to me was just a scrap of paper. And it said, Dear Jacob, go fuck yourself. I hate you, you horrible cunt. Die. Love from the mad lad. And inside it was 0.5 grams of cocaine with a label on it saying, I've had the other half, let's party. It's hard, man. Like they're growing up, man. They're having kids. I'm not used to it. Like I've had a lot of I've had a lot of my friends for a really long time. Like by the way, I'm like since school, and I understand, by the way, to all of you, that I'm quite posh coded. Like I get that. Like, and I want you all to know that I actually attended one of the toughest grammar schools in Kent. Physically tough, no, but academically, yes. It's one of those places where if you obtain a nickname at any point in that school, right, you have that nickname until you're dead. That's it. That's what you have, right? So my best friend at grammar school, his name was Piss Yourself Ant, right? And he has that till he's dead now. It is what it is, man. Like, and it's crazy. Like about a few years ago, we had a school reunion. And he turned up, and we were all like, yeah, Piss Yourself Ant, you're here. And he said, you know what? You can't call me that anymore. I'm a different man. I've grown up. I've got a child. I wipe up that child's piss. If anything, I'm anti-piss. I have a Volvo. You can't call me that anymore. And quick as a flash, we were all like, well, that depends how you conceive of the concept of time. You know, so do you think that time is just a linear series of events that happens one after the other, after the other, after the other? Or do you remember physics? We're academically smart. You've got to be on your toes with us. There's a B theory of time. And that suggests that everything that has happened, everything that ever will happen, is all happening at once. And that means not only will you always be Piss Yourself Ant, but you're pissing yourself right now and you will be forever. And Ant says, does it make you feel good that you know that much about physics and yet your job is stand-up comedian? You know, you can't... I will say one thing about Ant, by the way. I'm just going to drop this in because I think a lot of people get very... that's a very bullying behaviour you did to him. I want to say this about him. So when he came to university, right, I went to his halls. And what I found is that he only had like one... he had an empty room. And he had a laptop and just a bag of clothes in a bin bag and no other possessions. And I said, what happens if you want to use the bathroom? And he said, that's cool. I'll just steal from my flatmate. And I said, okay. What happens if you want a little piss yourself and alone time? And he said, that's even better. What I do, right, is I lie back on my bed and I come into my own belly button. And then I just hike my pants up and wipe them down. And then I throw them into my flatmate's laundry. Do you guys want to know what he does for a living now? He's a senior economist at the cabinet. There are so many people out there, so many people who believe in conspiracy theories. You know, that think that the world is secretly run by a cabal of evil Illuminati who are also lizards. I know who runs the world. It's piss yourself, come in your own belly button, Ant. And that is so much harder as a man to deal with. I wish I believed in conspiracy theories. But he's got a child, man. All my friends are dads, and they're all trying to get me to be a dad. It's like a cult, man. It's a cult forever. The real Illuminati is just your friends trying to get you to be a dad so you can join in their lame dad shit. You know, I go to the pub and like Anne was there. He looked up at me and he immediately was like, "Hey man, you got to put a baby in your wife," which, by the way, is an aggressive sales pitch. And I straight away, right, I was just like, okay. And for once, I just thought, why not? I'll just ask. I said, "Anne, what's it like to be a dad?" And he said, "It's hell." "I have been awake," he says, "for 79 hours. Every ounce of me is flushed and broken. I am both boiling hot and freezing at the same time, and yet I have no illness apart from the creature with which my wife has birthed." And I look at that thing and I see it, this lump, this sacking lump of flesh that never stops hungering. And I look at the woman next to me whom I used to love, and I still do, but I understand that she, for now, is little more than a dairy cow for a creature that never stops hungering. I see it in my waking dreams, and I would see it at night, but I do not sleep. He is my everything. He is my all. He is my fear. He is my doom. And then he said, "Best thing I ever did." I can't lie, like I'm not there just yet. I'm not there. And I give all the millennial excuses for not being ready to have kids, right? I give all the millennial excuses. I go, well, I can't have kids, the environment's fucked. And it is. Let's be honest, it is. I know that because of my own attitude to the environment. Like for example, it's January, right? It's what, the 29th of January? I tried veganuary where you go vegan for the month of January. I tried veganuary this month, and I lasted 7 days. It's okay. No sympathy for that. Do any of you guys try it? No. Yeah. Yeah, you're like, not in 2023. There's a war on. Fuck that. Plow that cow into my face. I lasted 7 days doing veganuary. It's not the meat for me as much as the cheese. I don't know if any of you have ever tried vegan cheese, but it doesn't matter to me what kind of chemical concoction they can come up with. They'll never replace the nightmares, do you know what I mean? Like, you need that in your life. You know you need that in your life. Like, you eat a pound of mature cheddar before you go to bed. You wake up 4 hours later sweating, screaming. You're like, oh no, I'm late for an exam. And my mum's here, and I'm naked, and there's a murderer. And now I'm just falling. You eat a pound of Violife, the vegan cheese, before you go to bed. Completely different story. You wake up 4 hours later, you're like, you know what? I aced that exam. I'm dry as a bone. Only me and Prince Andrew are as dry in this world. My mum's very proud of me, and I don't think I could start my day with that level of smugness. Like, I need the chaos. Fuck the planet. I say the environment's fucked. I say, you know what? We've got a war on. Like, I can't have it, and we do. Like, World War III might well have started. Who knows? There isn't much funny about that, but I do think one thing is funny about it. And that's this. That's this, right? So when the, Ukraine-Russia thing kicked off, I don't know if any of you guys remember this, but, the London mayor did this interview in the Evening Standard, right? And the headline of the article was literally this, right? It said... Sadiq Khan says, if there is war, London is ready. If there is nuclear war, London is ready. Are we? But I don't think we are, right? I don't know, maybe some of you aren't coming with this. Maybe you think we are. Maybe you think we're all going to pull in together and survive the nuclear holocaust. Fine, maybe you think we're ready. I don't think we are. I'm going to present this one piece of information to suggest to you that we're not, right? And that is this. Do you guys remember how 4 years ago KFC ran out of chicken? Remember that day? That was on the evening news. People streaming about, milling about. There was the BBC News filmed a woman leaning out of her car, right? And she looked him in the eyes. She said, sadness in her eyes. She said, I have been forced to go to a Burger King. You telling me that society is ready for nuclear annihilation? No, it fucking isn't, right? No, it fucking isn't. How do you relax with that going on? How do any of us relax with that going on? And I've always wondered what would happen if it did happen. You know, would I be any good in war? I don't know. Like, I presume not. But I think there are, like I know I'm a patriot. I know that. I know I'm a patriot. I know I love England, right? And I know that because of an American friend of mine. Hey, we've all got to have one. And she put up a post on her Instagram account. It was of a college American football game. And if none of you have ever been to these, they're amazing. They're incredible, right? It was a college American football game, and it had a big picture of the stadium, and it had all the like American footballers walking through it in their mad armor, and they had a singer belting out the national anthem, Land of the Free. And there were 150,000 people in the stadium, and there was a military parade going through the stadium. And then flying overhead, right, there are 4 Black Hawk helicopters. And she put as the caption to the Instagram post, "My cousin Chad is flying one of those Black Hawk helicopters. And every time I see him fly over our football games and I listen to the national anthem, my heart swells up and a tear comes to my eye. Because I know I'm free and I know I'm American." So I went to my favourite football team, Charlton Athletic, the other day. And there on the Tuesday night in the stadium, amongst the mud and the wet and the pissing rain, about 11 minutes in, a 12-year-old boy called the referee a mong nonce. And a tear came to my eye and my heart swelled because I knew I was from fucking England. Like, I know I'm a patriot, man, I know. And families. Like, my family has served in the military. I always wonder how that felt when war came, when the inevitable came. How did they cope? How did they relax? You know, my grandfather, he served in the army. My great-great-grandfather, he was in World War I. Actually, he was a World War I poet. He's not as well known as, like, Siegfried Sassoon, Wilfred Owen, all the greats. But I've read deep into his poetry. You know, to find out how he coped with life in the trenches. And it's very evocative of life in the trenches. And what I thought I'd do, right, before I tell you how I learned to relax, right, I'll read you a bit of his poetry. And and I've taken inspiration from that. And it goes like this. I knew a simple soldier boy who grinned with life in empty joy. Slept soundly through the lonesome dark, and whistled early with the lark. In winter trenches, cowed and glum, with cramps and lice and lack of rum. He came to me as hard as rock. I knelt down, he sucked my cock. Right, no! They can't all be sad. They can't all be sad. Many of them were gay erotica. You know? His bully beef, what it goes on. His bully beef, I waffled down from Gallipoli to Ypres pounds. Again in my open arse, I wear nothing but my gas mask, right? It's not. They can't all be sad, right? They can't, it goes on, dulce et decorum est, but only once your prostate's blessed. I just think, you know, he never got fame in Britain. And mostly that's because his name's Hans Mühlig and he's German. But I like to think that if he had been British, right, he would have been one of the greats, like Wilfred Owen. See, and I take inspiration from him. He saw hell. He saw the hell of the trenches, and he learned to relax. And I knew that I could learn to relax too. And that, by the way, I wish that was the end of the show. That's how I learned how to relax. I sucked some dick. It's so good. That would be an amazing ending. What a twist. I don't. It's such a shame. I don't suck dick. It's such a shame. It's a real... I'd be amazing at it. I don't think that's even... It's not even in dispute. I've got unbelievable lips and no gag reflex. I'd fucking... Oh. touch the back of your throat. Be so good at it, but I don't. It's such a shame. So I had to think of a different way, and I found it, and it's this, right? About 4 years ago, bloody hell. About 7 years ago, I met someone. Everyone always knows what you mean when you say, I met someone. You know, no one's like, I've met someone. They're a serial killer. Like, it's a girl, right? Like, I met a girl, and it's amazing. And a few years ago, we were married. You know, it was an interesting time. Most people could come on. Most people came in person, brilliant, all our friends. Some people came over Zoom. I had to always be, and they were like, Emma was like, please stop changing your Zoom background to be their house. It's like, I'm sorry, you know, just mood boarding. And we danced, like it was an amazing wedding, and we danced. It was just before lockdown, and our first, by the way, a lot of you attended this wedding, so you'll know this. Our first dance was to Rhythm of the Night by Corona. Which we didn't predict at the time, but if an English teacher ever writes a play about my life, and God help me, no other play will ever be written again, someone will be pointing to that line in the script, that stage direction, and being like, see that? That is called dramatic irony. We're having our first dance, right? And there was this moment where she looked into my eyes, right? And I looked into hers. And I had this moment of not just love, right? Not just love, but stillness and peace. And I knew that things really couldn't get much worse. Worse, better. Oh, no. Hey, the power of the edit. Or I'll leave it in, who cares? We looked into each other's eyes, and I had that moment of just pureness and stillness, and then I remember what we told Anne. I remembered the B theory of time. You know, I remembered that every moment that you have, it's actually all happening at once. And time is merely our way of navigating those moments. And if that means that, what that means is that moment where I'm staring into her eyes and she's looking into mine is always happening. And that's comforting. And even through all the turbulence, through everything, it doesn't matter what's going to happen in the future, because I will always have that moment. And you will have moments like this too. You will always have these moments. However, what it does also mean is that another moment which happened about 15 minutes later is also always happening. And that is this moment. It is a family friend called Tony, right? He came over. And he was, I'm going to say this conservatively, like 10, 11 pints deep, right? And he came over and he was like, Jacob, your wife, Emily, is looking gorgeous tonight. Give her one for me, son. And I've always thought to this day, what if I had? What if? What if we'd gone back to our hotel? What if we'd made love for the first time as a married couple? And it's beautiful, of course it's beautiful, because it's not just the act of making love, but it's the idea of two separate stories, disparate stories, who through the union of matrimony are coming together to become one. It's perfect, it's brilliant, it's not just that, and we're sitting there, and we're lying there, and afterwards, she's lying next to me, the lambent glow of the street lamps playing on the bed sheets, and she whispers to me, Jacob, I love you. And I whisper to her, that one was for Tony. And that is how I've learned to relax. So what we're going to do before we finish the show, right, is we're going to do one final meditation all together, right? And I think, you know, I think we've all learned something, okay? I've mostly learned never to trust you to be my audience again. We're gonna meditate together just one last time, okay? Just close your eyes, guys. I want you to remember, whatever happens to any of you in life, it doesn't matter really what the future brings. It doesn't, and it doesn't really matter what happened in the past, because all you really truly have is the now. And That's good, because you will always have that now, and you will always have your past, and you will always have your future, whatever it is, because life is merely a collection of moments, and we are merely beings having those moments throughout the rest of our lives. And that's perfect. Just relax. It doesn't matter. Relax. And I want to say one other thing too, and that's this. Life, right? You know life. You're living it. You're living it right now. You're living it right now. Life, you're living it, man. You're living it right now. You're living it right now. Now, give me £150. Thank you very much! Thanks so much.